March Madness is in full bloom. Yes, I know, and I'm not happy about it. The unintended consequence of the NIL is that teams can play in the MAC, can play in the Missouri Valley. Well, not Missouri Valley is a bad example because they won a game. Liberty, teams like Liberty, you're lesser leagues, but they can't compete nationally. I mean, they got their ass beat. That's one thing. The other thing, coaches aren't having it. Hey, while we are in the midst, in the heat of March Madness, several coaches, well, they're not having it with an invasive media member bombarding them with stupidity. No, that's just stupidity. They lost a tournament game, and I've said this before. And I've said this again. You lose a game in basketball. I don't know how it is in football. I've never been a football coach. We're going to have Mike Vrabel on the show tomorrow. I'll ask him. But you lose a game in basketball. You're literally 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes after the game's over, and you got to go sit in front of this throng of idiots. Little girls, little boys, they got their little blogs, old curmudgeon guys, hairspray TV guy that just wants you to get to say something stupid. And you look out there and you go, what a group of jackasses. You may know one or two and they're all right, but what a group of jackasses. You're pissed, particularly if you thought you had a pretty good team. You didn't make the Sweet 16, Mick Cronin. You're pissed, Rick Pitino. You're pissed. And yet you got to talk to these idiots. And they are idiots, make no mistake. Oh, the little girl that takes a picture of herself. Look, Mom, I'm on the court. And the little guy who's in journalism school that goes, oh, this is my chance to rip the coach because I want him to notice me. And the old curmudgeon who's seen it all. Bob Hartzell with West Virginia. I covered the Big Bad Machine. I've seen it all. Shut up, all of you. All is Indiana University has 35 blogger boys. All right, let's get to it. Mick Cronin. Mick Cronin doesn't want to fly home. He don't want to talk about next year. Mick Cronin just don't want to talk. Here it is.
Do you start looking forward rather than backward?
Right now, guys, it's 12:40 a.m. and our season just ended. That's it. You're going to ask me about next year? Right now, my biggest concern is how bad the seats are on the Allegiant flight, on that terrible plane that we're going to have to fly home tomorrow.
The school bus.
The cheese, the plain version of the cheese.
Hang in there.
And is there any chance that Doug got me some hot food, because I don't eat on game day, that I got something edible? Not next year, not right now, guys.
How about you get your own food, Coach? I mean, I like Mick Cronin. I do. I really like him. But this old coach thing is pretty funny. And he's right. It's 12:40 in the morning. Who the hell wants to talk? But, oh, hey, the chartered flight we got is bad. Oh, my bad. If Doug got me something edible. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I love Mick, though. Mick's like, when I met Mick, he was junior high coach. And now he's UCLA's coach. And it's a great story. It's one of the great stories. But come on, Coach. Got me something edible. Get your own food. Why does everybody got to do for head coach? This is what Coach Knight and I had an argument with about a long time ago. Last conversation we ever had. You coaches. One of the great things about not working at ESP is I don't have to go into a room and talk to a coach that I have absolutely no interest in hearing his bullshit on. None. But I do like Mick. I do. I like Pitino too. Did you see what was, or who, or what those things were said behind Pitino yesterday? Woo, at the game? He travels well, let's put it that way. Here's Pitino slamming a guy asking why did he bench his star, R.J. Lewis Jr. III, whatever the hell his name is. Dude was 3 for 17 at the time of the benching, but here's Pitino.
Roger Rubin from Newsday. Rick, you had R.J. on the bench, for a pretty long stretch at the end. Was that just because he just wasn't making them, or was there something more to it?
Played 30 minutes. It's a long time.
So he was tired?
No, played 30 minutes, and I went with other people. You already know the answers, Roger. You're asking leading questions. You already know it. So don't ask leading questions. You already know why he didn't play. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, you know the answer. The dude was 3 for $1 million. He wasn't doing nothing. He was getting his. He was showcasing his own crap. Well, he was tired then. Oh, shut up. See, Roger's a crumb-stained minion. He's just a crumb-stained guy that grew up really liking sports. I couldn't play, but I like sports. So I'm going to be a reporter, and I'm going to get those guys that make millions. I'm jealous of those guys that make millions like Patino or Pearl or Cronin, and I'm going to go get them. Shut up, Roger, you douchebag. Oh, shut up. Here's Patino, got another reporter wanting him to slam his own player. Here he is.
Was there one play with RJ that made you sit him the last 5 minutes?
You know he was 3 for 17. You know he was 0 for 3. So you're answering your own. I'm not going to knock one of my players.
There's your answer. Dude's 3 for 17. Well, he might get hot. Well, you know, a coach is there all the time. He knows whether the player's not going to get hot. He knows whether the player is engaged. This is my favorite stuff. Thank you, Nick, for putting this on here, because this is my favorite stuff. It isn't like the coach woke up in the morning, was taking a piss at the truck stop, looked on the wall and said, hey, R.J. Lewis Jr. needs not to play today. I used to tell my players, I ain't making this stuff up. Defensive help rules have worked for years. I ain't just, see it on a bathroom wall. What are you doing? RJ Jr. And so, here's the deal with coaching, and this is true. In Patino's, look at there you go. Patino travels in good company. I'll make, because of his scarf. Yeah, that's why. Look at it. He's got a scarf. He's got his readers. He looks like the old Mafia Don. You know what he looks? He looks like a Kirk Douglas Jr. or Michael Douglas. That's what he's got. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but I know what I'm seeing. Bruce Pearl, hey, this is awesome. Calls for the release of Edan Alexander and the Hamas hostages. Good for Bruce Pearl. We love Bruce Pearl. Here we go.
But for me, I believe it was God's plan to give us this success beyond what we deserve, to give us this platform, to give me an opportunity to just start this press conference really briefly and remind the world that Edan Alexander is still held hostage in Gaza right now. An American held hostage. And there aren't enough people in this country that know his name. So I asked the players if it was okay if I started out this press conference and just called out the name of an American. Bring the hostages home.
Yeah. Yeah. And if the players say no, then, hey, tough. I asked you. I didn't say I was going to listen to you. I said I was going to ask you. But good for Bruce Pearl. Really good. Good for all these guys. I mean, the arrogance of the old coach with Cronin is awesome. The all-knowing is true in Patino. And the empathy by Pearl, fantastic. But to have to sit up there, man. And then here's coaching. What did you hear leading up to St. John's game? What a great relationship Patino has at 70-some years old with the city of New York. And that includes his players. That includes administration. That includes media. Everybody was on the Patino bus. You lose a game. Now Patino had a bench a player. Now that player and his people are going to be pains in the ass. The media is going to side with the player because the poor 18 to 23-year-old. So Patino goes from on this boom straight to the moon, Ralphie, to now I got to deal with all this bullshit because one player decided to act for himself. And that's exactly what it was, not the team. Coaching's great. That's why they pay him the big bucks. But go get your own damn food if you want food. Damn. Woke loser. Wait, no. Oh, we got a Jamaal Bowman, he of the fire alarm. He's back, but we'll get to that in a minute. Before that, we got to go Stephen A. Smith lost his mind on Robert Griffin III. He did. He lost his mind. Robert Griffin III, also known as RGIII, put leave politics out of sports, right? In reference to Stephen A. Smith's comments on the DOD website, accidentally and temporarily deleting the tribute page dedicated to Reggie Jackson. Not going to lie. I haven't really followed this. Not going to lie. When Jeff Passan gets involved, I know it's bullshit, so I didn't follow. Hey, I don't know what the hell happened, but I do like beef. I love me some beef. Look, when the Sweet 16's going on and I got 87,000 bets and Aaron's asking me to put out videos where I correctly predict damn near every game, it's a lot for this head. I didn't have time. I will say this. I do think it's silly that every baseball team has to retire number 42. Like the Cubs. Jackie Robinson didn't play for the Cubs. But, hey, that's just me. I mean, I'm right or wrong. I know I'm on the wrong side of the woke on that. But, hey, dedication page should always be up for Jackie Robinson. What are you doing? I mean, look, there are certain things that are just stupid and taking down however it happened. Jackie Robinson's dedication page, what are you doing? Man's one of the greatest athletes of all time, played 4 sports. Now, the old guys will tell you Jackie Robinson's worst sport was baseball. Oh, shut up with that. Shut up. And a friend of mine, well, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, here is Stephen A. Smith going at Robert Griffin III, because what would be a day without Stephen A. Smith yelling and screaming about someone that disagrees with who? Stephen A. Smith. Here we go.
RG3, at some point in time, my brother, you're going to have to show your hand and stop tap dancing like the late, great Gregory Hines, God rest his soul. And in Gregory Hines' case, I only mean literally tap dancing. Figuratively speaking, you got to stop dancing around issues, brother. You got something to say, say it. If you got a problem with Stephen A., say it by name. What's the problem? Because I certainly don't have any problem with you. Let me tell you, RG3.
Oh.
An unknown secret that you may not have realized. Because you see, you come across as somebody that's bitter about being gone from ESPN. You ain't being slick. See, we saw the reports when you got let go by ESPN and how ticked off you were. We saw people in your camp, probably you in my estimation, but I don't know this for sure, who alluded to the Jason McCourtys of the world being on ESPN in the aftermath of you being let go. So since you have this penchant, this proclivity to be passive aggressive, because that's how you roll, let me show you how to be direct. RG3, people at ESPN didn't like you, bro. They didn't like you. You know the names. I said names as employees.
Yeah, I just get tired. I mean, it just gives me a headache. They didn't like you. I mean, every day the pussy stuff with Stephen A. Smith. I mean, God dang. I said your name. You can come at me all you want. But you better come at me over the microphones. Oh, man. Okay, they didn't like you. You're mad. He's mad. We're all glad. All right. All right. I told you about RG3, though. I told you being at the national championship game in a suite next to him, and I was sitting right on the wall. And there was Joanna and Jake, or whatever the hell, that couple that builds houses in Waco. Really good. And I'm watching. What's that guy's name that used to do a morning show with after Mike and Mike was over? Trey Wingo, who I never swore at an adult male more than him. That's not true. Timmy Knight. They're over there. And by the end of it, not one person wanted to be around RG, whatever his name is, including his wife. No, I watched it. He had his Griffin basketball Baylor jersey, and I'm just watching. I'm just sitting there. I'm having a beer. I'm at this suite, and when I go to a suite, I kind of sit by myself, and I don't bother anybody. But I was watching. I'm always watching. Stephen A. Smith's right. It's just like, why is Stephen A. Smith like the Lord Gazda of all this stuff? Shut the fuck up. Anyway, woke loser and disgraced fire alarm puller. Jamaal Bowman, that's what he's going to be known for. Hey, man, what'd you do while you were in Congress? Well, you know, I didn't like a vote, so I pulled a fire alarm. You did what? What, you second grade? Yeah, well, you know, I thought it was a door and blah, 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 blah. He labeled Elon Musk an incompetent thief. And wait for it. You know it's coming. You know what's coming. A Nazi. You know Nazi's coming. Here it is. Jamaal Bowman, you go. Yeah. And by the way, he lost bad in an attempt to get re-election. But he's trying the Nazi thing. Here we go.
That's not true. And this shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people, was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. Period.
Let me just.
He's a Nazi. And Musk isn't having it. Musk is not having it at all. Here's what Musk had to say. I've had enough. Lawsuit inbounds. I hope he sues him because Elon Musk got a hell of a lot more money than some fire alarm puller. And Elon Musk can say, look, I want this guy sued. Handle it. Let me know when it comes out. Let's throw back to the greatest moment of Jamaal Bowman's career. Here he comes. He says he's trying to open a door, and he pulls a fire alarm and leaves. He says he's trying to open the door. That's what he said he was trying to do. But I don't know if you noticed, he pulls the fire alarm and then doesn't go out the door. Didn't wait to go out the door. There's the door. Pull the fire alarm and go out the door if you think it's the door. Huh? Jamaal Bowman is so stupid that, one, he did not know that it was on camera. As my brother told me 100 years ago, just live your life like everything you do is on camera. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Number two, Jamaal Bowman is so stupid that he didn't play it out. See, he was going to go to the door, and he was going to pull the alarm and act like it was the door, but he's so stupid, he forgot to go back to the door. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot ever make this stuff up. If we put this in even House of Cards with Kevin Spacey, you wouldn't believe. Oh, it's too. Come on, I know Spacey knocked that reporter onto the train track. That's a little crazy. But come on. Hey, by the way, R.I.P. to an American legend, icon, hero, my opinion. The family of legendary boxer announced sadly that George Foreman had passed away Friday evening. George Foreman passed away at the age of 76, 1968. He won the gold medal at the Olympics in New Mexico, defeating Jonas Ceballos. Next thing you know, and I remember this. Boy, I remember all this. 1973, he defeated Joe Frazier to become the heavyweight champion of the world. My dad went to the fight. It was closed caption. I think he went to the Sportsman's Club in Gary. I stayed up until he came home. I said, Dad, who won? Joe Frazier was my favorite boxer. And he said, George Foreman beat him, son. I'm like, what? No way. I think I cried. I was pissed. I was 11. I wasn't happy. I was 10. I wasn't happy. 45 years old, he regained the heavyweight title. It's one of the amazing stories of the 90s. George Foreman came back, and people said 45 was old. Are you kidding me? He knocked the living hell out of Michael Moore, making him the oldest heavyweight champion in the history of sport. 76-5, sold over 100 million units of the George Foreman grill and became an ordained minister, dedicating himself to his faith and his community. George Foreman was pretty much the modern-day Charles Barkley, or the earlier Charles Barkley, in terms of he would laugh at himself. But George Foreman changed too. George Foreman was seen as a mean, vicious man, on and off. Now, I don't know the history. That's just what I know he was seen as. And then George Foreman became the lovable George Foreman. And he became a pastor and a Christian. And it's awesome. See, so many times, so many people get stuck to their past persona, and that's what people see. Not George Foreman. He changed it. Actually became known more for grills than boxing, which is amazing. You know, the famous woke-a-dope when Ali beat him, and he stood and let Foreman punch himself out is an iconic fight. Nobody heard about the woke-a-dope. But the dope was in referring to George Foreman. George Foreman was a lot of things, but he wasn't no dope. George Foreman was a brilliant businessman, an excellent boxer, a fantastic showman, and ended up being a great American. He really, really did. And those of us that watched his entire career, which I was young enough to start doing and old enough to finish doing, it was remarkable. When George Foreman came on TV, for whatever the reason, people said, I want to buy it. George Foreman started a grill. He got rid of the fat in your burger. I don't know. I never had one. I've had burgers from it, and they were damn good, but I like a good burger. I don't know what made his burger so great other than allegedly they took the fat out of it, but I think it was because George Foreman endorsed him. So George Foreman, rest in peace. What an interesting, fantastic life you led. I mentioned earlier March Madness. March Madness going on. I put out a video. It's an unintended consequence of NIL that 16 teams remain, all from major conferences. No major upsets. Yeah, Drake got a win, but people kind of saw that coming over Missouri. Missouri was a mess. 8-9 games, that kind of thing. Yeah, Colorado State certainly had a chance, and congratulations to Maryland. Last-second shot, Derek Queen, who I famously said, and I'm getting roasted for, Indiana hasn't won with entitled prep school kids like Queen. Well, tell me where I'm wrong. I'm right. Anyway, I digress. Indiana's out of the conversation until they get back in. Florida beat UConn. You know what? It ended up 77-75. Danny Hurley went off after, but Danny Hurley should have. I felt like he was getting jobbed. But here's the deal. Get a couple rebounds, and, man, you win that game. You know, we put a video out, and we said, look, take the first half in this game. You knew Hurley's team was going to go fight like crazy. They had not been an underdog in I don't know how long in the NCAA tournament. I mean, remember the last 2 years, they weren't even challenged. Florida, as our friend Seth Greenberg famously says, has two of everything. They're like Noah's Ark, and they needed all of them. They got to win. But I must say, if you're going to go down as a two-time champ, going down as the best team in the field, battling your ass off, pretty good way to go. So congrats to Danny Hurley. Hope they start another dynasty coming up here soon, as college basketball desperately needs Danny Hurley, because let's be honest. I know we all like March Madness. I know we all like the romance of March Madness. I understand it. But it was pretty boring in the first round unless your team won. If your team didn't win, and your team wasn't in it, like my beloved Hoosiers, it was kind of dull. Anyway, that's Florida. Hey, Dusty May, they looked dead in the water a little bit. You know, Texas A&M was up, and it looked like certainly in the first half, Dusty May's team was going to get overrun. And then Dusty May's team came back and got to the Sweet 16 over Texas A&M. People told me, oh, his team was tired. And I said, you're an idiot. Well, Dakich, you didn't see him at the end of the San Diego game. They looked beat. No, they looked like San Diego was doing what San Diego does, is make threes, but they held on. And then they were supposed to be tired against Texas A&M. They looked tired to me. They looked like they were outmanned early, and then they did what they do, started whipping the ball around, started making shots. The bigs started playing together, and they won by double digits over a good Texas A&M team. Remember, Texas A&M earlier had come into Indianapolis and beat Purdue in Indy. No easy task. BYU, man. Hey, John Tanji for Wisconsin went off. He had 37, and good for BYU. How about this? Mark Pope leaves. BYU goes to the Sweet 16. Mark Pope goes to Kentucky. Kentucky goes to the Sweet 16. I ain't mad at it. I'm not. I was surprised at this. I was surprised at, I'm not going to say the ease with which, because that isn't fair. The ease isn't right. But Auburn beating Creighton by double digits was interesting to me. I thought Creighton was really good. Still think Creighton's really good. It tells me that even though they lost a few at the end of the year, our friend Bruce Pearl is rock and rolling, shaking, baking, aching, and making. Because I got to tell you, Auburn looked damn good. I thought Auburn was back. I thought Auburn was playing serious. There was no nonsense with that one clown that always has nonsense. I thought Auburn was really good. I thought Auburn moved the basketball. Broom was fantastic. And they did something I wasn't really sure that they could do, which is physically dominate Creighton. But they did. Good for them. Hey, Tennessee slays UCLA. UCLA had a hard time scoring. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. If you're going to score in the 50s, you're going to lose. There weren't very many games in the 50s. There weren't. One of the teams, I don't know, I think it was Liberty, got beat so bad they stayed in the 40s. Maybe it was somebody else. I don't know. But there were very few games. Used to be a lot of games in the NCAA tournament in the 50s, low 60s. Very few. UCLA couldn't get the ball in the bucket. And Tennessee did what Tennessee does, which usually is just enough. What does that mean? They play really hard on defense, so they make it hard. They do just enough on the offensive end with the Ziegler kid and others. Texas Tech Downs, friend of the show, Ben McCullum, too athletic. Grant McCausland's a really good coach at Texas Tech. He comes out of Baylor. Where he worked for Scott Drew for a long time. Man, he's good. He won a junior college, and he won now. And he's taken Texas Tech to the NCAA Sweet 16. Congrats, though, to Coach McCollum. He's headed to Iowa. He's an Iowa guy. He went from, think about this journey, Northwest Missouri State to Drake, and after years at Northwest Missouri State, to Drake, 1 year to Drake. Now, here we go to Iowa. So DeFries from Iowa is going to be in the Big Ten at Indiana, and McCullum from Iowa is going to be in the Big Ten at Iowa, all leaving jobs after a first year, and I ain't mad about it. Hey, Purdue fans, you should jump up and down, stand on your head, and blank snowballs at Fletcher Lawyer. Fletcher Lawyer is playing with an injury that only, according to Purdue staff, one other guy on that team could play with, and that guy is Braden Smith. Purdue's in the Sweet 16 again. I remember when people said, well, wait till Edey leaves. Wait till Edey leaves. When Edey leaves, you'll see. Really? What are we seeing? We're seeing the next in line. Whatever that Kaufman-Wren or Wren-Kaufman, I always get it wrong. That dude is a bad boy. And here's the deal. They beat McNeese, and I told you they would beat McNeese. I should have bet Kaufman-Wren, whatever the hell his name is. I should have bet the over in points. I'll tell you why. It is easier to play against guys like McNeese. You can beat McNeese guys with body and jump shot, or shot fake, not jump shot. Shot fake those guys, they were going to go flying. You play against Kaufman-Wren, you need size and strength. You can't bully it. Watch this next round. You'll see. Houston is going to play him with size and strength. They're not going to play him with guys jumping around. Always used to say certain teams, you can beat them with a shot fake. And when Kaufman-Wren or Wren-Kaufman, whatever the hell his name is, when he gets the ball against a team that he can shot fake and body, they got no chance. And they had no chance against him. Congratulations, though. Will Wade and a number of players from McNeese are going to North Carolina State as Will Wade signed a 6-year deal. Good for NC State. Good for those players. And Will Wade said something really honest. He said, hey, look, man, I'm very honest. If I go, a lot of these guys are going to go, and they're going to get paid a lot more. Speaking of honesty, Derek Queen from Maryland hit a running, going left, shooting right, tough shot for the win, sending Maryland into the Sweet 16 over Colorado State. All right. After the game, they asked Derek Queen why he would listen to Kevin Willard. And the quote is legendary. He do pay the money. White guys all over Maryland are trying to change that and say he does pay us the money. No, he do pay us the money. He do pay the money. That should go on a T-shirt. That's a great quote. He does. He do pay the money. So good. Very, very good. Good for Derek Queen. Good for the money. Good for Kevin Willard, who's been mouthy despite, I don't know, I guess he's had success. Now he has. He's in the Sweet 16. It's pretty funny. He do pay the money. Hey, why are you guys always talking about Aaron and Gary on this show? He do pay the money. File this under category of least shocking news ever. Ready? The infamous Snow White remake starring American-hating Rachel Ziegler as the lead character absolutely bombed at the box office. I got to raise me up. I know I could have done it in a commercial, but it's bothering me. My fat ass is squashing this thing even though it has a thing on it. Look at that, Snow White, 2 out of 2. Yeah, 2.2 out of 2. Awesome. Good for you. You get what you deserve. You hate America. Snow White bombs in the box office with only $43 million of opening weekend ticket sales, missing forecasts of at least $45 million up to $55 million, according to Box Office Price, an already low range for a major theatrical production that, listen to this, costs more than $250 million to make. Wow. The woman, Ziegler, who is Snow White, is just unlikable. I'm sure she's cute and wide-eyed and all that stuff in the remake, and I'm certain there are all kinds of DEI-type figures in this. But when your star is an unknown whose first appearance in front of the American people is to talk about hating America. I don't know. I'm sure that plays with the blue-haired purple people of college campuses that say, see. Well, I got to tell you, there ain't no C. The movie sucked. Here's Clay. Look, Disney is going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars on their Snow White remake. Do you know, it's going to, let me see here. Disney is going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars on their Snow White remake. It's going to be one of the worst profit losses of any movie in their history. And it's Snow White, one of the most popular movies in world history. Do you know how impossibly hard this is to do? I do. I do understand how impossibly hard it is to do. I get it. I know it is impossibly hard. But you know what? They managed to do it. And they managed to do it because, let me go back to a Clay Travis saying, go woke, go broke. It's that simple. Hey, back to college hoops for a minute. When you watched college hoops this weekend, I got to tell you something. It's a little secret. Players are better than they've ever been. No, they're better than they've ever been. I'm watching, and I have a thing with my wife where I go, man, dudes just make shots. I mean, they make shots. Are they more athletic than they've ever been? Yeah, I don't know about that. I know J.J. Redick famously said back in the day people were playing against plumbers. Maybe. What I do know is the bodies are better, stronger, bigger. I say it all the time. Back in my day, Charles Hurt, forward for Kentucky, was the most ripped dude in college basketball. Well, everybody looks like Charles Hurt now. Now, Charles Hurt was kind of a muscle-bound guy, rest in peace, that really couldn't shoot, but he could play. Guess what? Now everybody looks like Charles Hurt, is built like Charles Hurt, and can shoot. I mean, the level of basketball is astounding when it comes to making shots. It's incredible. Used to be, well, guy can make an open three. Most guys can make an open three. Wait a second. Now it's, hold on. Guys can make threes falling back. Guys can make threes off handoff. Guys can make threes off downscreen. Guys can make threes dribbling into it. What? Guys can make threes throwing it back to a 7'20" kid at Illinois who was ripping threes yesterday as much as I rip farts. There you go. I said it. So instead of complaining about college basketball, which we all do, I mean, the NIL, blah, 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 blah. All right, I get it. We all get it. But the truth of the matter is it's never been better. The skill level's never been better. The game itself, never been better. Off the court, never been worse. Hey, last thing for all you Colts fans out there, let me explain something to you. There's all kind of reports going on now about, well, Anthony Richardson is taking this offseason serious. Anthony Richardson's working hard. Let me ask you a question. Shouldn't that be a given? Shouldn't that be what you do? Like, why should it have to be reported that an NFL quarterback who was historically bad after falling up from a historically bad career at Florida up to the 4th pick in the draft, up to a starting quarterback, he's continued to fall up. Why is it news that a guy is working hard? That should be the price of entry into being a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's like saying hello. The entire building should know that you're working hard. Let me ask you a question. Do we ever have to hear about Peyton Manning working hard? I mean, there would be cute stories about Peyton Manning getting guys together to work out, but that was a given with Peyton Manning. Tom Brady. Anybody ever hear about Lamar Jackson not working hard? Anybody ever have to hear about Lamar Jackson working hard? Patrick Mahomes? Anybody ever doubt how hard Jalen Hurts works? It's the price. It should be the lifetime that you have led of working hard. Those of us of a certain age will remember this forever. Walter Payton's the greatest football player that I ever saw, that a lot of us ever saw. Look, I'm biased. I grew up just outside Chicago off the south side. I grew up Bears every Sunday. Bears stunk until 85. Walter Payton was our guy, and he ran a hill. And nobody ever talked about, well, Walter Payton had a bad year. He started to run the hill. Now he's serious. No, you just do it. That's an editorial note, as I had a few minutes to burn here because I burned through all the stories we were going to get to before I get to Coach Boeheim. But I saw that the other day, and I thought to myself, are you out of your effing mind? Are you insane? You're reporting that now a guy's working hard? That's like reporting that I'm bald. It's just, should be who you are, what you do. All right. 7 SEC teams, 4 Big Ten teams, 4 Big 12 teams, 1 ACC team, 0 mid-majors. It's a little bit of a byproduct because of what? NIL. A guy's a sophomore. He's at Bowling Green. He gone. Wally Zerbiak ain't staying at Miami after his freshman year. Bonzi Wells ain't staying at Ball State. Remember little Earl Boykins? He gone after his sophomore year at Eastern Michigan. What are you talking about? Gary Trent, Shaq and a Mac, 15-year NBA player. He out after a minute and a half at OU. What, you nuts? What, you crazy, Ron Harper? He ain't staying at Miami. Shoot, he'd be playing with us in Indiana after his sophomore year. What, are you crazy? Please. NIL, big impact. We'll talk to Jim Boeheim about that next.